name is Shamya. When I first moved here, everything felt scary and uncomfortable. The language, food, culture, the people I was around, everything was different. And it quickly became overwhelming. Back where I'm from, life felt simpler and familiar. Everything was a part of my everyday routine. Here, I realized things were very different. Wanting to fit in, I started making small changes to myself. The way I dressed, the way I talked, the what groups I appeared in. I changed how I dressed, even the way I spoke. When I got my first job, I noticed my coworkers like to work independently, but I still talk throughout the day. In my culture, people are more reserved and indirect. So joining conversations didn't come naturally to me at first. Over time, I pushed myself to speak up and I realized I actually enjoyed connecting with my coworkers once I pushed myself out of my shell. Once I got out of my social norms and learned to adapt. That's when I learned that adapting to a new environment doesn't mean giving up on who I am. It just means growing into a new version of myself. Thank you.
When I first moved here, I experienced the same things, so I truly understand where Shamaya is coming from. Acculturation can truly feel like a never-ending battle where you like struggling between where you are from and the new place you're in now. I remember I used to just sit in my room and feel guilty for changing things about myself, mainly because of the new environment. It made me feel like I was leaving like my old self, my culture behind. I soon realized that, just because I'm choosing to change things about myself doesn't necessarily mean that I'm losing myself nor the culture where, I came from. It just meant that I wanted to belong in the new environment. I still choose to celebrate everything that comes with my culture, like the holidays. I even speak my native language whenever I am home, and I have begun to find a way to honor my culture and also navigate my new environment and kind of balance it so that way I can be successful in a professional way and in society. So my advice to Shamaya would be, like just stick in there. Try to find someone who you truly can see to understand you more. Someone that makes it feel like you are welcome in the new environment that you are in. Um, like friends, even close friends, coworkers, anyone that you can find that fits in with your new culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, hearing both of y'all talk about this really hits. Acculturation isn't something people always notice until they lived it. From the outside, it might just look like someone changing how they dress or talk, but it's way deeper than that. It's that constant feeling of trying to figure out where you fit in without feeling like you're losing who you are. I think what both of you said really shows that acculturation isn't about choosing one culture over the other, but it's more about balance. You're learning how to move in a new environment while still holding on to the other parts of your culture that still matter to you. And that's never easy, especially when you're young and just trying to feel accepted. What really stands out to me is how important support is. Having people who understand what you're going through makes such a difference, and acculturation can feel overwhelming, but when you have friends or family who gets it, it doesn't feel like you're doing it alone. It becomes less about losing your culture and more about growing into who you're becoming.
Hello. So, as you have seen, our short scenario was based on Shamaya, which is a young lady who recently moved to America from another country. She was experiencing being overwhelmed and just not fitting in due to a new culture. With that, in the second scene of our scenario, you meet Nia, which was also from another country who had transitioned to America, and she has been here for a while, and she expresses how she knows what Shamaya is going through and how that experience feels. So, Cayden is the third scene, and she's the person who is originally from America and speaks on her stance about, already being from America, but understanding how moving to a new country and experiencing a new culture could be difficult and it's hard, but it doesn't mean that you lose your identity. It's just a balance of things and learning that. Our word was acculturation, and that's basically the process of culture exchange that occurs when individuals or groups come into contact with, I guess, like a dominant culture. It involves learning new norms, values, languages, and traditions. Really, the scenario in general was basically, just showing how acculturation looks different for everyone. For some, that just means learning new things as far as, like I just said, culture, language, even down to how people dress. Different cultures have different ways that they dress versus in America. It's kind of like a melting pot. Everybody, has different backgrounds and culture and that type of thing. So it's just, learning where you fit in and knowing that you don't have to give up your own identity to fit in. So yeah. But generally, when you find people who are dealing with acculturation, it's best to find like a support group or just friends who are supportive and respect what you are going through, so it can make it a little easier. Ultimately, acculturation is not about choosing one culture over another culture, or your own culture. It's about learning how to navigate multiple cultures and just finding your own sense of balance and identity. So hopefully you enjoyed our scenario, and that's it.